Hey trappers, Dale Billingsley here, Billingsley Brand Lures. So guys, what I want to talk to y'all about today is snaring coyotes. We've had pretty good rain here last day or so, and I'm not going to be able to drive back in on some on properties, but I'm going to show you out here on the roadways what I look for, and you can apply this to anywhere. It doesn't have to be on the road. You can do it on the interior fences back in, and get along just fine that way. So anyway, let me flip this camera around here, and we'll get started. All right, guys, so you're not going to be able to see it real well because of the vegetation, but you can see that swale coming through this, off this cornfield right here. And right underneath that woven wire fence, right between those two wood posts right there, there's a hole that comes under the fence. That's where the coyotes and the coon both cross. Now, the reason they cross there is because of this signpost right here, making it a landmark for them, for one. Number two, that is the low spot. Now, this doesn't always hold true, so don't get it in your head that they always cross low. I know some guys that have done that in the past, and it's not worked out real well for them. I'll give you some demonstration of it later on. But anyway, they come right down through there between these two posts right here. My big finger in the way, but they come through right there, and they cross. Now, the other reason they cross here, let me get this car by me. The other reason they cross here is because it jumps over into that big heavy timber right there, so they've got plenty of cover. So these are some things you want to think about, things you want to look at. All right, guys, here we are. We're not even 50 yards up the road. We're about 35 or 40 yards up the road from where we just were. There's the sign. There's that swale the coyotes cross through, and here is another one. And these coyotes cross right between those two post right there and come across. So again, we're in a low spot. Like I said, though, this doesn't always hold true, but most generally speaking it does. So anyway, you've got good crop cover there for them to hide in at least till the corn gets out, and that's when you start seeing roadkill pups laying everywhere. And then across the road is the heavy timber. All right, guys, this location here is pretty easy to tell. We're just maybe, I don't know, somewhere between a quarter and a half mile around the corner from where we just were. We've got a nice crawl under coming through that ditch right there that I catch coyotes in it every year. And don't think, just because you live in a state that doesn't allow snaring, don't think that you can't still catch these coyotes here. All you have to do is drop a foothold in there, blind set foothold in the narrowed down spot of the trail, and you can catch them coyotes just as easy that way as you can with a snare. And again, we're in a low spot. We've got a nice swale coming up through here. Coyotes hunt up and down it all the time. It's a very good location. It cuts across the road over to a standing cornfield, and they'll still continue to use it even once the corn is gone, because there's still plenty of opportunity for them as far as mice and rats and all that good stuff for them to eat. So this is still a good location. In fact, the Amish just put a house in right there, so I'm not going to be able to snare this location anymore. These coyotes will have to be foothold from here on. Here in Iowa, we've got a 200-yard law. I've got to be 200 yards from your mailbox and or your house, whichever one is closest. I've got to be 200 yards from it, and I don't believe I am. Be close, but not quite. But no sense taking a chance when I can easily enough put a foothold in there and still catch the coyotes. All right, guys, there's a prime example of a coyote crawl under right there, coming under this woven wire fence, and you can see we're up on a ridge here. But again, we have that nice swale coming up through where those coyotes like to travel and they like to cross. That's an excellent example of a crawl under right there. All right, guys, you can see the trail coming under those cedar trees right there. Now, you know that's not deer. You know for a fact that that's other things. Timber's down there checking it out right now. That is not a deer crossing by any means coming under there. But when we come across the road here on the other side, let me get my eye back on it again here. Here it is. We've got this nice trail coming right through here and going right there to that crawl under where that, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there goes a rabbit from it. So anyway, the rabbits are using it, so you know that everything else is too. But anyway, there's a nice crawl under coming underneath this woven wire fence, and we are up here on top of the knob. But again, right over the knob is a nice swale that those coyotes like to hunt up through when they're coming up to the road. They stay concealed that way until they get right here, and then it's just over the hill and under the fence and across the road, and they're gone. So those are things you want to keep in mind when you're looking for these. And again, it doesn't matter whether you're back in that field or whether you're out here on the road. Nothing ever changes. It's always the same. You just, you have to think like them, act like them, and smell like them if you want to catch one. That's all there is to it. All right, gang, that little old light trail coming down right there. Now, it doesn't look like a whole lot from here, but what you can't see that I know, right across over yonder that way, there's a pond levee. So those coyotes come across that pond levee, and then they come right down through here, and they sneak right down along there, and then there's a gateway on the other side of me here. That pond levee, if you can get permission on those places like that, if the grass is tall enough to do it, which generally speaking it is, it doesn't take very high grass or very much to break up the outline of a snare. There's generally always a trail going across the top of those pond levees. Those pond levees are awesome. Everything crosses on them, and if you can hang snares on them, or if you can put footholds in them, in those trails, if it's legal, which generally speaking it is. I mean, I'm talking for you states that can't snare, like state of Illinois and those places. Okay, so you can put footholds in those trails across those pond levees, and I'm telling you, you're going to catch a bunch of coyotes and a bunch of coon, some red fox, and everything else that crosses on those. So don't overlook those places. All right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and end this video here. I mean, we could just keep going and going if we wanted to, but I think I've pretty well showed y'all about what you need to know. I think there was some pretty good information here if you choose to use it. Again, guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in and watching. If you found this video helpful, if you would please just hit that thumbs up for me. That's all I'm asking. Guys, once again, this is Dale Billingsley with another one. We're signing out.